Hi guys, welcome. Danny here from the Magic Junk Drawer. So this topic has come up over the last couple of days several times. So I wanted to address it. And it's been a problem for me, and it's been a problem with some of the people in my life that are closest to me. And which would make sense because like attracts like, right? So when we talk about the law of attraction and money, the idea of manifesting more money to a lot of people, they have a hard time with it because of their beliefs about money. So I'm not really a huge, blame your parents and your childhood for everything kind of person. But I do think it's important to look back on your beliefs and how you grew up in regards to money. And I'm not saying that money is the be all end all of a healthy person at all. But what I'm saying here is that if you go back to like your first memories of being very young and dealing with money or things that you wanted that you couldn't have, you, um, you have to take notice of the beliefs that you developed and then learn how to change them. So, for example, when I was really little, I remember, well, all right, I wasn't that little. I think I was 10 or 11 when I started piano lessons. I really wanted to take piano lessons. Like music has been in my soul since like the day I was born. So my father brought home a piano and he refinished it. That's what he does. He's an artist and he refinishes furniture and art and antiques and so on and so forth. So he brought home this piano, and my mom set me up with a piano teacher. And at the time, the piano lessons were once a week on Wednesdays, and they were $47.50 a month. That's how much they cost for the month. So I remember her one day being on the telephone with my piano teacher, and I had just started. And she was asking her, she's like, well, I don't know if she's musically inclined, and I don't know if this is a waste of money. And she said it right in front of me. I was sitting there. And I think back then, parents didn't realize when they said things like that in front of their children. And like to me, I started at a very young age believing that I wasn't worth it. You're not good enough for piano lessons and you're not worth the $47.50 a month. Like that's what was started to get programmed into me. I was also, and same for my brother, we didn't get gifts or toys or things that we wanted unless it was a special occasion. Our grandparents bought us shit. But like my mother never took me into Toys R Us. Like that was just not a store that we ever went into. We never got things unless it was our birthday or it was Christmas. You just didn't get something because you got a good report card. You just didn't get something because you wanted it. And a lot of things that I heard growing up were things like, well, who do you think you are at 13? Like that kind of stuff. By the time I hit 13 and I wanted to dress nice and the clothes were expensive that all the other girls were wearing, I was told that it was ridiculous to spend $50 on a sweater for a 13-year-old, which I can agree with as an adult, but as a kid, you start to form a belief that you're not worth it and that money does not come easily. And that's where your self-worth starts to self-worth and how you feel about money. So what happens is it tends to cross over beliefs in your entire life. So being told that I wasn't worth the $47.50 for piano lessons made me think that money was hard to come by, we didn't have the money, and I wasn't worth it. So the I wasn't worth it part carried over into other areas of my life, with my friends, with my relationship with men, with my relationship with my bosses. The idea of you're not worth it because this is what was programmed into me. Now, that's how I interpreted it. Another kid may have heard the same conversation and not felt that way, but I always took everything very personal. Everything always seemed to be my fault. One of my earliest memories was I was 3 when my brother was born, and I was always told, "Be quiet or you're gonna wake the baby." And he happened to be very colicky, so he was up crying all the time, and I thought it was my fault. I thought, "Well, I wasn't being quiet, and that's why he's up." I always, from a very young age, always took blame and took responsibility, even when things weren't my fault. I just figured I thought that they were, and I accepted the blame for it. I'd still do it now. So, changing the way that you feel about money has to start with the beliefs and the ideas that you grew up with. A friend of mine who grew up, with modest income parents and with a family of 5 children, he's got similar beliefs when it comes to money about himself too, because having 5 kids and not having a large income, he was sort of in the same position as, it's too expensive or we don't have it, or I need to put food on the table, that kind of stuff, where the amount of money was starting to correlate to our self-worth, which is why, as you go into adulthood, you carry those same beliefs. So now, when I go for work or when I'm at work, I think that I'm not worth it, or somebody else is more important than me, or they're worth more money than I am. And it's not true, but these are beliefs that I've had or that I grew up with. And then what happens is I put that out into the universe, it gets reflected back at me. And then this is how the cycle continues. And it doesn't, the thing is that it crosses over from one area of your life into the other. So you may have grown up thinking that you were important enough for piano lessons. And then as you get older, you think you're not important enough for the job. You're not important enough for your partner to buy you a nice gift. You're not important enough to drive a nice car. You're not important enough for somebody to do something nice for you. So you have to go way back to these early memories, and there's a reason why you remember them, because they're deeply imprinted in your subconscious and they come up. When we talk about these things, they come up. So learning how to change that. Now, I also have to add that growing up, my parents didn't really do without. So if my mother wanted a new car, she got the new car. And I always took the idea of she's more important. So other people always were more important than me. So I wasn't worth the $47.50 for piano lessons, but she was worth the new car, or she could whatever. She could have the new diamond rings, and and as I got older, diamond rings were just not that important to me. I just I just don't see the importance of it. Are they nice? Yeah, of course they're nice. They're beautiful. It's nice to have, but there are other things that are more important to me as I got older. So when it comes to money, changing the ideas that you grew up with is a huge thing. Being told, another friend of mine that said that every time Christmas came around, whatever the hot toy of the season was, she wound up getting the knockoff version of it. So if it was like, if she wanted, she said she wanted the Sean Cassidy guitar or something, and she wound up getting the Caldor version of it. So she also grew up with similar beliefs about money as I did. So it's not really a shock to see that her, my friend that came from the family of 5 kids, and me all kind of grew up with the same idea when it came to money, and we all struggled with money, and we've all accumulated a lot of debt over the years, and we also put other people's needs before ours and spent money when we shouldn't have to please other people. So it's very interesting when you look back on it and you want to learn how to change these things, because the fact of the matter is that there's enough for everyone. If you focus on what it is that you want, you can be successful at anything. You just have to stick with it. You can't fail if you don't give up, because you're going to keep getting there. You're going to just keep going for it. So my suggestion would be to go back to those incidences through your childhood when you were told that you couldn't have something, or they didn't have the money, or it wasn't important now, and try to change how you felt by using some kind of a mantra. I'm worth it. I deserve it. I have enough money for this bill. I'm so grateful that, oh, the bill's 300, no big deal. So starting to feel like money flows to you abundantly, because it can. It can. And changing the way that you think about it is really crucial. By the time I got into high school, and I know I've mentioned this before, and me and my friends were all working part-time jobs, I always felt like my friends deserved to make more money than me. Like if I was making whatever it was at the time and they were making 50 cents an hour more than me, would think, well, they deserve more than me. Why does one high school kid deserve more than the other? By the time we got into our 20s and we were working, full time, or we were working jobs that were a little bit more grown up, so to speak, and my friends made more money than me, I felt like it was because they deserved it. They were better than me, they were smarter than me, they deserved it. And this is something that carried with me throughout life. And then it crosses over other areas of your life, thinking somebody else is more important, somebody else's parents do more for them, or the idea that you have to struggle, or that, I mean, I've said it a million times, I'll never be able to take a vacation again. You have to change those beliefs, because you can take a vacation again. You can go see nice places. You can do different things, but you have to focus on what you want and what you have, not what you don't have. So going back to all those old times where you were made to feel, and nobody can make you feel anything unless you allow them to. But as an adult, you can understand that. As a child, you can't. Understanding that I am worth $47.50 for piano lessons. I am worth it. I am worth it. I am worth it. And starting to change that, so you start to reflect that back. A lot of things that I heard too growing up were things like, well, what do you want to do that for? What are you going to do with that? I mean, I wanted to take voice lessons. I wanted to do this. I didn't start singing until I was 29 years old, because I was talked out of it. It's a waste of money. And why is it a waste of money if it's something that you enjoy? Why is cultivating a habit or a hobby or a talent ever a waste of money? But that's what I was told. And I was also very embarrassed by it, thinking that I wasn't good and I couldn't do it. So that kept me quiet. So then I didn't push for it, because I didn't want to be embarrassed. And I felt very embarrassed by a lot of things. I felt like there was always somebody that could do it better than me. And you know what? There will always be somebody that can do it better than you, but there's also going to be a whole lot of people that can't do it nearly as good as you. So, you know what? You have to start changing the way that you think and the way that you believe, and start understanding that you, just like everyone else, has a right to have money flow to them, to have love in their life, to have nice things, to have a job that pays you what you deserve, and not settle for less. And let me tell you something, it's a huge, huge process learning to change it, but it's not impossible. You can do it. So I hope that this helps. And if you have any questions, comment below, and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.